Oh, hello, hello, hello. Hopefully you should all still hear, well, you should all hear me. Blah, if I can get that sentence up. How is everybody? Welcome back to the painting sessions. Welcome back to the seminars. Welcome back to everything. I hope we all had a very relaxing Christmas that wasn't too full of screaming kids demanding more, more, more. I hope you all got some very nice things. I hope Santa brought you some very, very nice toys. Speaking of which, Santa didn't exactly bring me this, but I thought, you know, it's too cool not to at least have a look at and examine. So for today's session, we will be doing an introduction to bust painting with this horrible, cheap, knockoff, plasticky piece of crap. So why am I starting the series with this? Well, bust painting, it's one of those things that painters feel like they need to progress onto. It's a challenge. It's a mark of progression in their own painting. And it absolutely is. Generating atmosphere and generating a sense of personality in the piece is one of the hardest things that we can do as miniature painters. And having a bust gives us that opportunity to really focus in on the characterization and the character of the piece and try and give a portion of your own personality to it. So what better way to start than with Darth Vader? This will probably be the most copyright infringement version of the Patreon that I will be doing. So I hope you enjoy this. Hopefully we don't get any reports. Otherwise this video is coming down. With that being said, I do also have a few reference images that I'd like to display. So hopefully this will work. Let's have some images that we'll be scrolling through of Darth Vader and how we want to go about approaching painting this particular bust. So I do want to give him a lightsaber. His stance indicates that there is some kind of lightsaber involved, so why not introduce that? To start with, this did have quite a bit of flash to it that I've taken off before the episode, before what we do now. So I will be constructing some kind of lightsaber for this guy. Now I'm not sure whether you want to see it live here because I've got brass rod and good intentions at this point. I haven't got anything more developed than that at this point, but I would like to paint the miniature as if it did have a lightsaber in hand. And this brings us on to how we go about painting. How do we go about constructing a paint job of a bust? Now, unlike miniatures where we have 4 light sources existing above the miniature, one of which being the strongest and one of which will give us the strongest light reflections, on bust painting we could be a lot more particular in where our light sources come from. We could construct the entire miniature around a single light source. So for example, if the light is coming from this direction, well, we'll have a very shiny portion of his head, and the rest of the colour scheme will be developed around that. So let's try that. But if we did do it from a single point of light, it would lead to a very boring overall look, because all of this would just be left in pure black, pure darkness. So how do we go about breaking that up? Well, we introduce a second light source. So we have primary light source coming from here. We have a secondary light source from the lightsaber. We can have a third light source coming up here. Often it's a complementary colour. So in this case, I know that it will be a red. It will be a neutral light source from above, and I also want turquoise hitting him from the side. Now, if you're unsure of exactly how to go about creating a colour scheme or how to go about creating this kind of effect, well, and where the shadows and highlights exist on the miniature, I would highly recommend you undercoat the miniature black. Luckily, this thing is black already. Take your phone and under a strong light source, just take a couple of photos of him. And that will give us an indication of where to place our shadows and highlights. So we have the miniature here. I'm very aware how perverse it is. I'm showing you a picture through a video screen of what I want to paint, but you can see the lights are static and they've been locked in place here. You can say I could put a line of light here, line of light here, and also the reference images will help us a whole heap. Oh, hello! Hello everybody else. So if you are watching live, if you have just joined us, please feel free to leave a message in the YouTube live chat. It lets me know you're out there. It lets me feel like I'm a bit less of a serial killer just talking to myself. But when I undercoat this miniature, I will leave you with some really, really nice images in scene 2. There you go. I'll be using scale 75 black primer with some Forge World thinner. So I'll show you how much in the way of a ratio I use. Oh, sorry for the delay as well, guys. Completely and utterly my fault. Alright, so I'm just going to undercoat the miniature. Right. Right, I wonder whether this will actually go on. You know, you think I would have cleaned this up before coming live to do a seminar. So you have this problem as well with, well, not just this sculpt, all sculpts. Some of them will come with quite a lot of mold release agent to them. No matter what you do, no matter how you clean it, it will still stick. So I just put a touch of thinner, or rather I put a touch of my primer on, and as it's curing I'm just running the brush over to pick up on any excess pieces. So while I do this, I'm going to leave you with some very Okay. So that's all painted. Last blast of the hairdryer for now. Sorry again, guys. Okay, Darth Vader it is. Right, because he is a little bit difficult to hold, and I don't want any of it chipping off. Let's put him on a plinth. Let's put him on a holder. So I need. I'm going to glue him onto the base of some crushed glass. So crushed glass is fantastic for snow effects, but I still believe it's illegal in this country to buy in the UK. Okay, just pop him on there for a few seconds. Let's have a look at the comments. Okay, lots going on here. Okay, so where's my birthday? So Sam is an organizer for the Ruination events in South Wales. I'm not sure whether do you do anything else? Not that I'm accusing you of being a lazy bum or anything, but do you do any other events outside of Wales? But it's actually Sam's birthday today, so if everybody can wish him a happy birthday, that'd be very nice, because we are a very helpful, nice community. Yeah, so wish him happy birthday. How old are you, Sam? When you show the pics, you have no sound. Oh, okay, brilliant. Okay, that's worth knowing. I was just talking nonsense anyway. Okay. Right, okay. Right, that should be better. Hello, hello, hello. So, sorry about that, guys. None of you could hear me for like a good solid minute or so. And we still have 7 people watching, amazingly. So, thank you so much, guys, for sticking with me. All part of the wonders of joys of learning how to use your equipment in the most cack-handed way you possibly can. Okay. So let's have a look at actually how you go about constructing a paint job on this guy. So we have this cheap, horrible sculpt. We know exactly where to place our shadows and highlights. Let's just dive in. Let's actually start to paint this miniature. So, oh, it's very handy. Just knocked him off his base. So, big brushes only for this. I want to add a lot of texture to this piece. I want him to be very expressive. For larger pieces, don't worry so much about the smoothness of the blend initially. Just get down those initial layers, get down those initial colours. And it's even truer when it comes to things like this. Big areas of black. So I will be paying particular attention to the armoured head especially. So let's have a look at putting down the first layers on here. Yep, the airbrush is all cleaned out. Let's grab up a palette. Okay, so for the first one, let's go with a grey. Grab up all the greys I own. So you, what we have, dark blue grey and some white. You know, just these 2 colours alone. Right. Okay. Just pop those on. Just popping those on my palette. Okie dokie. So I haven't read any reviews yet, guys, of Star Wars: The Last Jedi. What do you think of it? Nice clean wet palette here to work from. Let's add some dark blue grey, some white, maybe a bit of turquoise as well, because why not? I'm determined to use my bigger brushes with this. Okay, so let's use this monster. This is the Evergreen Filbert. So I just want to place down my initial layers of highlight. So I will be using my reference pictures I have in front of me, and then the first ones we took at the outset of the lesson. And we'll start to develop the colour scheme around that. So we have kind of light along here. You can see just how expressive we can be with this. Okay, so kind of come down in a line. This travel up here, so no need to worry about smoothness at this very early stage at all. Just need to get these very, very loose base tones in place. I quite like, almost like a devil's horns effect. Only big brushes for this. So let's switch over to my number 2, Winsor & Newton. We start to refine this a bit later on. Just want to get these very basic tones in place. Okay, so this is a very shiny surface. So we need to make a difference between the cloak and the helmet, which is incredibly shiny. I don't really know where the natural reflection points will be. I'm just going with what feels natural at this point, where I think the light would naturally gather around the helmet. So it'll probably be around here somewhat. Yeah. Okay, on his shoulder pad on here, probably be quite a lot. This is silver, so don't need to worry about that. His gloves will come to a high sheen, but won't be as shiny as this. Okay, so just for that, I think that looks pretty good. Just for our first layer. So let's get some white. Let's highlight within that point. So we're working with very broad strokes. I'm going to try and work as fast as I possibly can, just relying on my innate knowledge of where the light would naturally form. And you can, if you have the image in front of you, even better. If you have an image in front of you just to work from. Got a bit messy there. I didn't like the line it took, so I'm just going to add a bit of white here and leave it at that. I think that might be a bit too intense there. Right now I'm just sketching out where I think the light would naturally sit on the miniature. I'm just going to give it a blast with a hairdryer just to help me along. I wonder if there's a way I could bring that carousel of images up while I'm working. So just give me a moment while, so image slideshow. Oh, I think we can. Hold on, boys. We're in business here. Okay. Add files. Yep, I think we can. Okay. Open. Okay. Whoop. So he's going to be covering the screen for a couple of seconds. Hold on, let's bring it into a much more reasonable side space. Okay. So let's see how this works out. If at any time it becomes annoying and you can't actually see what I'm painting, let me know. I'll do my best to edit it even more. But for this stage, it's purely getting colours down. Getting a sense of where the colours would naturally lie in relation to one another. I can worry about tidying things up later on. Best thing is I can even tidy it up with the airbrush. And stronger highlights here and here. So I'm trying to push the light towards that central portion here. And we'll get the occasional just kind of random line of light. So what have all you guys been working on? Did you get any sweet swag from Christmas, Father Christmas? DJ Taylor. So I'm being a bit more considered with my brush strokes. Just trying to develop this line of light a bit more. So you can see here it's kind of gone straight down where I need to fan it out a little bit more to go in shape, in context with the helmet. Need black. Why aren't I painting with that black on my palette? Oh, amazing! So Sam got a limited edition Siegebreaker for his birthday. That's pretty sweet. Got some turquoise. Just to give me an idea of where the blend is going. So when it comes to black, it's really good if you use a turquoise filter. It just enlivens the black and gives it a lot more contrast, rather than using, say, black, white and all shades of grey in between. Can get a bit boring doing that. Need to tidy this up big time. So I really don't like the line I've taken here. So just take a bit of black. And eradicate it from history. It's like Alderaan never happened. So, any big Star Wars fans in here? Any really big Star Wars fans? Do you collect the source materials and you're into the RPGs, that kind of thing? I've always gravitated more towards 40k. That seems to be like the dominant sci-fi in my head. Right, he's looking suitably terrifying. Let's hit him with a hairdryer. Oops, sorry. Okay, so I just want to smooth this blend out a little bit. I want to give some definition. So my primary light source is hitting here. So we follow the line of light down. So it'll be a line here, hit along his cheek, down here. After the initial few layers, you're just tidying up the piece. Well, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm just trying to tidy up as much as possible. I'm very happy with my initial placements of light and colour. Just need to develop them. So, white. It's amazing to think what you can get from those first few horrible layers that we put down. Help smooth this out. I'm going through filter layers of turquoise and grey and black just to help smooth the transitions down even further. So that eye doesn't look quite right, so I'm just going to wash over the black. There you go, looks a bit better. So have you guys worked on any of the Star Wars miniature games? I know Night Models does a range of Star Wars miniatures. always drawing the paintbrush to where I need it to sit. So if I want the colour to sit in the middle here, I'm always making the motion of the brush towards that point. I feel like I need something along here. So look at these side panels. Okay, okay, I'm not sure this doesn't quite work for me. So let's run that over. So the line there works. Maybe, yeah, a bit more along here. So it doesn't quite go the full way down. Here, yeah, this really does not work for me. So touch of turquoise, touch of black. When it's still wet, I can just blend it in. Yeah, that's it. So my brush stroke was off then, and I wasn't going in context of the piece. The brush strokes here can go straight down because that's where the lines of the armour lead. Here, it's much more of a rounded surface. So I need the point of light here, and I need subsequent emanating lines of light around it to create a more satisfying appearance, more satisfying, more natural appearance. So you can see where I've added turquoise to the armour here, just how more vibrant it is as opposed to this side. So some white there. Line of white here. I want to do that same trick again I did over the other side, so just on the piece here, draw it down slightly. That way I can have highlights here, not go down all the way. Right here. Maybe a line along there. Aha! That looks okay. Just that line along there. Yeah. Okay, I think that could work. Okay. Dots here. Okay. Been ignoring you guys in the comment section. What are you up to? Okay. Oh, good. You're having a conversation among yourselves. Excellent. Hardly anyone plays Heresy here either, so I started doing events. You guys are lucky, but I have enough time. That's a shame 30k is dead in the local area. It might just be lying fallow, though, rather than being dead. So I think 40k it's a brand new thing. People want to experiment. But 30k will always be there. ready for people to return. So how do people feel about the releases this weekend? We've seen the Custodes. Everybody excited? I get the feeling I'll be painting gold a lot more in my immediate future. Well, that's certainly the plan for coming up with lots of tutorials for you guys. Okay, that's starting to look like something there. Good. So I'm going to really push the contrast, really push the highlights, and then I'll be returning back to my airbrush to add a few filter layers on top. Here. So we can start to see where we're headed with the piece. Any mistakes that you've made, or any mistakes that you feel like you've made. I feel like I've made a lot, especially around this area. Maybe, yeah, that's nice. That's a nice line. You can easily correct with a few brush strokes. Oh, that's definitely a mistake. There's something not quite right about the side of his head there. It doesn't feel right. Something about the top of his head doesn't feel quite right. So let's see if we can prove it with the airbrush. So I'm going to pop over to switch over to the airbrush just to help me along with the blending. Let's go with turquoise first. Thin turquoise layer. So I'm using Adriatic Blue by scale 75 and Forge Roll Thinner. And I'm creating a wash with this, so lots and lots and lots of thinner. To create a wash like this. See, when I place this on top of the miniature, you should barely be able to see any appreciable difference. So this will just help tie all the colours together without using black when you use black, you really do kill contrast and colour interest. By adding turquoise instead, we can start to map out what needs to be changed, what's gone right, what's gone wrong. Okay, so from the front, yep. So that's my primary angle. So from the front, he looks at the dogs. The dog's nether regions. Okay, but from the side, doesn't look so great. And I'm learning with you guys as we go along with this. Anybody going to the Weekender next month? Forge World Weekender? Necromunda and Horus Heresy? I'll be there. If you want to come and buy me a drink, please feel free to. And I'll buy you one in return, because I'm not a dick. Okay. So, let's grab up white again. Just use pure white. There is a touch of the turquoise left over. I'm not so concerned about that. Okay, let's see if we can smooth out these lines just a little bit more. Help if my compressor was on. Nope. It's looking very shiny at the moment, very shiny in chrome. Okay, let's go into black. Yeah, looking very, very shiny. Okay. So you guys are right in. Yeah, that's right, Sam. You didn't buy me a goddamn drink back, you son of a bitch. I'll be hunting you down. Oh, so guys, if you didn't realise already, I will be hosting a paint class. If you want to look at the Ruination page on Facebook, dates are up there. Tickets will be available on the 20th, I believe, Sam. It's a 2-day painting course on infantry. So we'll be covering airbrushing basics, where to place light and shadow on infantry, and if we have time, hopefully we could go through basic skin tones and faces. But I feel like that needs to be developed into a course in its own right, because skin tones do take, well, the way I do them especially, do take a while to do. Okay, so let's grab up ink. I demand some black ink. Intense black. Again, just adding a bit of thinner. whatever paint you use, no matter how thin you think it is, always use thinner, because it just helps the airbrush not clog up on you. Okay. Whoop, just tipped the whole load of it out. Brilliant. Yeah, I need a lot more thinner in here, I think. Whoop. Got a few paint spatters on him, a few ink spatters. It's not a problem. Okay. Knock that portion back right the way back. Okay, let's hit this with another hairdryer. I'll be doing the same again. So I'm just trying to smooth these lines together even more. There's only so much the airbrush can do. We'll be coming back into this with a brush just to re-highlight these lines. It definitely needs a bit of light there with a bounce effect. Okay, so light there. Okay, let's hit this with grey maybe, or white. Not sure. Just fun. It's just fun having a bit of a play around with something I don't get a chance to paint that often, or at all. Right, okay. Well, I think we need to reintroduce a bit of these whites and greys, so let's hit it with pure white. Again, just to sketch out where light will naturally form. So we have a highest point of light there, should go into pure darkness again. And the bounce point should be here. So this is white again. Brilliant stuff. Okay, he's looking good. We're coming up to the end of the session, guys. Coming up to the end of the hour. Don't want to keep you any longer. But don't fret. I will paint every single portion of this on via the seminar pages. So it might take a couple of months, but I think it'll be just a really cool Really, really cool piece to have right at the end. So that's where we'll leave it today, guys. Thank you so much for joining in. If you have any questions, feel free to pop them along to me. Sam says, pop survey, who's dumber, Kylo Ren or Kylo Ren? Yep. Brilliant stuff. Yep. So if you were interested in going through an infantry course through just one-to-one tuition, we are hosting a weekend in Firestone Games. That's in South Wales. Event tickets are available on the 20th. Check out Ruination via Facebook. Otherwise, I will catch you next time for this again. Thank you so much for joining in, guys. I'll be painting this up in the next session. Again, we'll be developing this black even more. And really trying to get to the essence of this guy's character, firming things up, and trying to get these damn light reflections in the correct places. So I'll catch you next time. Bye bye.